Welcome to this lecture from ZBRUSH Character and Concept Sculpting Module 1 course. Now I've decided to do a series of videos showing little parts of my character and concept sculpting module 1 course, which I've got out, which you can find a link below. The reason I'm doing this is that I want to show you quick things that I'm going to be doing in the course, and you might decide actually you want to take this course because I go into a lot more detail over things. So I'm going to do a few videos in series here, and basically this is a model that you can see here, and you can see the course key points that I've got there, such as hair sculpting, sculpting base to high res, create and insert brushes, micro mesh, surface noise, nanomesh, curve on surface brushes, high detail projection, stitching, decoration, posing your sculpt, and also rendering, and a hell of a lot more. So check out the link below to see the full course details and what you're going to get if you decide to purchase the course. So these are little snippets. Another reason I'm doing it is that you can see if you like my teaching style. If you like it, then you might want to spend hours listening to me do the actual course, which is over 180 video lectures and literally must be about 40-50 hours worth of recording. So let's begin, and the first thing we're going to cover here is T-pose. Okay, so for this lecture I'm going to show you how we can pose this character. Now this is the basic character that ships with ZBrush. It's actually in your Lightbox tools, and it is Julie Z tool, that one there. So I did make a few tweaks just for this to sort of demo what I'm trying to get to you. Right. So when you first open this file up, you're going to find that the mesh for the swimsuit is quite dense. Now when we're using T-pose, it's best to have a low subdivision level, a low polygon, so that it's easier for you to manipulate and twist and turn the pose that you want. So with that in mind, what I did was I created a duplicate and I Z-remeshed it to give me a low poly model. So you can see it there. And that is it, and it's actually got 4 subdivision levels, but if I take it right down to 1, you can see it's nice and low. So you need to be careful, and the reason that we don't want a high poly is because it's a little bit harder to manipulate. Things tend to twist, so if you've got a low poly version, it's going to be much easier. So I'm going to delete that one out and just keep our low. Now all of these tools have got low versions of them. The hair's got low version of it, if you look under here. So it's easier game for us to manipulate. So if I take this down to 1 here, you can see that's fairly low. It doesn't matter so much about the hair, but the body is definitely something that we are being careful with. So that has got a low subdivision level as well. Now also, as well as that, if we're twisting and turning any points, then it's quite good to have polygroups set up like these, so that you can basically isolate part of it and make a move on it, and it'll just affect that part of the body. It's just a bit easier for us to manipulate rather than having to go around and mask each area like that. Okay, so masking is obviously the control key, and to select these parts. By the way, if you go into like a scale tool and you hold the control key and click on one of these parts, it will actually mask everything apart from the part you've clicked on, which is handy when we're manipulating. All right. Now I do notice that this side here hasn't got a polygroup for the leg, so I can quickly set that up now. What we can do is we can just isolate this section, Control Shift, and then Control Shift drag, and then I can just go and start to select the other part here, and it should let me do it. So I'm Control Shift, and then I'm going to come back, Control Shift drag, and I just want to move in. Actually, I'm going to move it down to the lowest subdivision level, so it's a bit easier. Let me do that again. Okay, Control Shift on here, Control Shift drag, Control Shift drag up to here, Control Shift drag, and I'm just going to add these polygons. So I'm going to come in here. I'm bringing my brush size down by pressing the space bar, and Control Shift drag and Alt, and I'm just going to add these in here like that. Let me just check the back. Oh, I've got a few extra ones here. So Control Shift drag. I'm just going to angle this and Control Shift and drag across that. Reason I'm angling it is so that if I'm like this, it will cut through it. So now I'm going to press the Control W and it'll just mask that. So it's basically grouped visible. The same thing can be done down here under Polygroups. Control Shift, and I can see that I'm going to have to change this back a little bit as well. So I'm going to select this leg and Control W this a few times just to make it a different color, because you can't see there's a different color. And also I don't really, the front and back, I'm going to have one polygroup. So Control Shift on this, Control Shift drag, Control Shift on this, Control Shift drag, Control W, or group visible. Yeah, so now I've got my polygroup. So I basically got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 polygroups. Now you can do the head as well, and we'll use masking to do the head just to show you something different. I'm going to go in solo here, and we're just going to pick the masking, and we're just going to mask over here down to the neck where it starts to turn, and we're just going to mask over here. So you can drag and mask as well as just masking over it. So when you've got something like that, by the way, it's always quite good, I should have done it, is to turn on the symmetry. That way I'm going to mask both sides at the same time. So let's go down here, just drag this, and I know that I'm going to be selecting the same polygons then by having symmetry turned on. So let's press the Control W now, and that will mask, that will basically group the masked areas. Control W, there we go. So we got that. So now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 polygon groups. All right, great. So what I'm going to do now is throw up all my tools again, and we can have all these in high. If we go all high, what TPose will do is it will actually take the it will use the lowest subdivision levels when you take it in there, so it's no problem. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to go into Z plugins. I'm going to go down to my transpose master here, and I'm going to hit the TPose mesh, okay, and that will take it in. It will basically make all the tools into one, as you can see here. It's finished, and it will, oh, something I didn't do, sorry, let me go back to this, and I need to make sure that I've got groups turned on, otherwise it will get rid of them. So let's try again, and now we will have the groups. Okay, good. So we got our selection groups. All right, now that's done. What we can do is simply we can start moving stuff. So I can use a combination. So what I'm going to do is something very quick. I'm not going into detail. I'm going to leave this off. I'm going to make sure that I've got symmetry turned on. You don't have to. In fact, you shouldn't, but I just want to do this as a quick course, so I'm just showing you. So here we go. Just going to use the Control key and Alt to take away from that mask selection. Now I'm going to press the Control key and click once just to smooth that out. And now I'm going to invert it. Control click outside. I'm going to go to rotate. I always turn perspective off when I'm doing this. I'm going to unlock the pivot point and put it where it would bend, which would be about there. Lock that back up, and then I'm going to bend it down like that. So there we go, we've moved her. So now I can move on quite quickly. I can just move across to maybe the hands here, make sure they're masked up, inverse that selection, put this in position, and I can start to move things up and move it that way. Try and do rotations rather than translations, but you get the idea. So now I could take the head here, so I could Control Shift. I could actually press the Control key on the hair, and actually for this, what I'm going to do is press the Control Shift, come into draw, sorry, and take the head, Control Shift, and I'm going to mask that up. I'm going to press the Control Shift again and Control Shift on the hair, and that I'm going to mask it up, Control Shift and drag, oh, click, and I'm going to soften that mask in there by pressing the Control key and clicking once. Now I'm going to click inverse it, Control click outside, rotate, come in the sideways, and obviously I go a lot slower on my course. I will say to you that I don't go this fast, but for this little demo I'm just showing you. So we could put a little twist in her as well. If I turn symmetry off to take her out of symmetry, you can then put a little twist in that as well. So you got something like that. So it's a little bit different. You know, if you want to take the one of the legs now, I can press the Control Shift on here, and you can do what you like. Undo the pivot point, lock it back up, move that leg out, just late it a little bit here, and then I could mask there to the knee and move that pivot point again, lock that back up, hold on, down there, lock that, and move that knee something like that. Unmask it, and we got something like that. So you've got something that's out. If I turn that perspective on there, you can see that I've changed that out. So when you're happy with that, what you can do is you can come back into here and T-pose to subtools, and as if by magic it will start taking those tools and it will start putting it all in position. There you go. So we've posed that model now using the T-pose. Now I do show other methods. I show a Z-sphere rigging, how you can use rigs to actually manipulate it. It's basically using Z-spheres that you can sort of drag out, and you can use those to move parts around as well, like this. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed that short little course on using T-pose, and obviously I'll cover a lot more of that inside of the character course. Welcome to this course, Module 1, ZBrush Concept and Detailed Character Sculpting course. So this module is one of a series taking you from initial design all the way to a ZBrush game ready asset, with hours of video training. Now in this particular module, module 1, we're going to be concentrating on actually concept and detailing our character to get it like the course image that you're seeing in front of you now. So along the way we're going to be covering a host of features, including the following: creating a base meshes. I'm going to show you 3 different ways of doing that. We're going to be building a high resolution body from the base mesh, and we'll be detailing it through all of the steps. So I'll be taking it from a simple base mesh. I'll be showing you 3 different ways of creating those base meshes, and then we'll be actually taking one of those and detailing that model up. We'll be creating a likeness sculpt of the face. We'll be using Dynamesh and the difference between subdivided sculpts and Dynamesh. So I'll be showing you the concepts there. Be looking at topology tools for rigging and creating clean geometry, using Spotlight for reference and looking at reference in general and the importance of it. We'll be looking at different methods for tiling alphads and full demonstration of those methods. Be creating hair, fur and leather using the sculpting brushes inside of ZBrush. We'll also be looking at using micromesh and nanomesh for armor, and to be able to easily swap the micromeshes and nanomeshes out to quickly give you a different effect. We'll be using the surface noise and the noisemaker plugin. Be creating complex Boolean actions for subtraction and creating a U-mesh from these. We'll be creating insert, multi-mesh and curve on surface brushes, both appending and adding new brushes, plus saving them as well. Be keeping your scene organized and using references. We'll also be, when we finished detailing the high res parts, subtools, we'll be using T-pose to pose our final sculpt. Now I'll also be showing you how to use Z-spheres for rigging as well, for setting Z-spheres up as rigs inside of ZBrush. I'll be showing you how to save custom views and save the document as well as the tool. We will look at materials, color and lighting, as well as rendering out from ZBrush, and as additional feature I'll be showing you how to bring that into Keyshot and render out from that as well. And then finally we're going to end up with compositing our render passes. In this case I'm going to be using Photoshop to render them in. Now additionally, as well as all of what I've just mentioned, I'll be showing you many tips and tricks along the way. So I would expect this course to be completed in about 3 to 4 weeks. Just make sure you understand each step before you move on. There's over 180 video files, so it's hours and hours and hours of content, and some of the assets are supplied to get you started. Now there's support and a Q&A area that you can post questions, because there's going to be questions. It's a very complex course. So the software that you're going to need to complete this course is ZBrush. I'm using version 2018. You can use 2018 or 2019. For compositing I'll be using Photoshop, but you can use something similar, pretty much all of the packages, such as GIMP, which is a free one, will allow you to set it up as well. And if you've got Keyshot, great, because I show you how to render in that as well. So as I mentioned, this is module 1 of many of the courses that I'm going to be building on. So I'm going to be using the same asset in the next module, module 2, and so on, until we complete all of the modules to get us to a game ready model, which I'll be actually putting into Unity or UDK, Marmoset toolbag for viewing, rendering, creating turntables. So if you're interested in game, this is module 1 of it. Follow them all the way through. This is by far, I would say, one of the longest parts of the course, the module, because you're actually sculpting something, and this is the base for what we're going to use to create all of the other courses from. So I really hope you enjoy this course, and yeah, I look forward to seeing you on the course and answering your questions.